There's no question. Insulation has what is referred to as an ROI, a return on investment home improvement. We can calculate within pretty accurate parameters as to how long you can expect for your money to have paid for itself. One of the benefits that we offer the client is extensive testing, both before and after, where we come in and do a blower door test as well as infrared picturing, and it allows us to give them the opportunity to know what the current state of their home is, as well as did I do my job the way you hired me to do my job. Along with that, it shows you the improvement to the home.
Welcome back. This is Hire It Done. My name's Adam Helfman. You gonna turn your air conditioning on for the first time? You worried about the bill? Most people are proactive, or no, I wish most people were proactive. They're reactive. They react after the bill comes in. In the wintertime, they get that first heat bill and they're like, "Oy, what are we going to do? I better save energy." You know, they want to cut back. Well, Tom Mackey from Dana Insulation's in studio. Tom, isn't that true what happens? They get the first heat bill in the wintertime and then, oh my God, the all breaks loose?
That's 100% true. And as a rule, you'll see mid-July is when the panic button really lights up. And that we mentioned in our last segment that Dana Insulation is got a window of opportunity. And please remember that what I'm sharing with your listeners this morning, gang, mid-July, the phones light up like a rocket because those first bills of the hot cooling season show up, and everything changes for us.
So if someone says, okay, I'm going to listen to the advice today, I'm going to call Dana, I'm going to come out, have him come out and give me an estimate to put insulation in the house. You go out there, you'll pop your head in the attic to see if they have enough attic insulation?
Well, I'm leaving the show this morning to go to a beautiful home in Huntington Woods with that exact process that you just asked.
And so part of adding insulation is ventilation.
Oh, hand in hand.
Equally as important.
Equally.
So you can't just spray insulation in the attic.
Right.
Now, is there choices homeowners have when it comes to insulation, the actual type of insulation, fiberglass, cellulose?
And those are the choices. You have either batt fiberglass, you have blowing wool, which is fiberglass, or blown-in cellulose. We'll recommend more often than not cellulose, but as you know, we did a project together with your father back 5 years ago, and because of very thin drywall, blowing wool was the better product because of the weight. So there's exceptions to the rule.
But either one done properly will give you good results.
Oh, insulation is insulation. It's just a matter of putting the appropriate amount in.
Okay, so let's just assume you go into a house, a regular homeowner's house, and you know they need insulation. How do you price it? Per job, per inch? What's the way to do it?
Well, the pitch of the roof is going to have a lot to do with it. The accessibility to the attic area is going to have a lot to do with it. The length of hose that's going to be needed from the access back out to where the truck location. So there's a number of factors that go in. The amount of insulation is going to be different in each home.
Some people have some insulation already.
That's right.
Can you go over what's there?
At least 90% of the time we are able to. We got to take into consideration vapor barriers. We've got to look and see the condition of the attic currently and evaluate the R value and the vapor barrier and the ventilation.
Okay, so it's a little bit of science behind it.
There is a lot of science.
And each job is individual.
That's right.
Which is important. We're talking with Tom Mackey of Dana Insulation. Tom, if someone wants to call Dana today, what's the phone number?
586-463-8675.
And then you've got DanaFoamInsulation.com.
That's right.
So www.DanaFoamInsulation.com. Now, you do foam as well, obviously.
We do all types of insulation.
Any kind of insulation.
Any kind, doesn't matter.
Okay, so here's the other thing. The roofing business, it's very, very busy right now. Many homeowners don't plan on a roof. It's just a reaction to the roof's leaks. But a lot of the roofers, and especially the roofers from Hire It Done, like let's say Tittle Brothers, American Standard, they're all really busy right now, great companies. But a lot of times homeowners know, because they hear us, that getting a new roof also should include or may include insulation. How are you guys doing with roofing contractors. Are you teaming up with them to do insulation?
Well, we've partnered with a number of roofing contractors in the past 6-7 years who, in fact, are getting very, very educated to their own clients who do know that making the recommendation of upgrading their baffling, their ventilation, and their insulation at the same time as their roof is a good business practice. So fortunately, we have partnered with a considerable amount of reputable roofing companies here in the Metro Detroit area.
So let's just give an example. A roofing contractor A, let's just use his name. They sell a roof to a homeowner. They contact you and say, hey, we're going to be doing a roof, and we also have insulation. The roofing contractors rely on you to do the insulation properly with the baffles, the amount, and all that as well, right?
That's correct.
Now, what else in an attic when you're doing insulation in the attic? And I'm assuming a lot of the work is in the attic. There's also in the walls, the bond plate places, but isn't the majority in the attic?
The majority of our jobs begin with the attic. Some continue on with the additional things, the measures that can be done, but the attic is generally the starting point.
Sure. So with that being said, what about like vent fans? You know, exhaust fans from a bathroom. I see it all the time. They just let them out and they're exhausting into the attic.
Wow, that's you said a mouthful there. That's probably the most predominant sin that I see in attics on a daily basis. Right. There. That's a bad situation.
Right. So and that's the thing. So can you guys, if someone just calls you for insulation and you notice that, will you reroute the exhaust? Or?
Well, first and foremost, that's what I think folks who call on the phone and forgive this term, but the tire kickers who are just calling to see what kind of pricing range they can anticipate. I often ask the question, how many bathrooms do you have with exhaust fans, and are they properly vented? And of course, nobody knows that answer. So when I'm there, I am looking for these types of things. It's great that you brought that up. It's real important.
Yeah, and for homeowners, if you're getting a new roof too, if your bath fan is not vented properly, and let's say you don't want insulation, you have enough, that'll ruin the integrity of the roof over time.
The roof deck will deteriorate quickly
because it's just blowing moisture into the attic.
That's right. Whatever insulation you have up there will get soaking wet, as will the roof deck.
So if insulation gets wet, it reduces the R value, right?
In the case of fiberglass, it tremendously takes the
R value down.
The R value down. Yes, the integrity of the insulation is definitely affected. So yes.
Okay, and that's what I was figuring. Now, when you go to a homeowner's house and you're out there doing an inspection, what are the inspections you do? You check the attic, obviously. You check ventilation. What about in the basement?
Every single home that I go into, regardless of what the client has called me for, I feel as though it's my obligation to educate them. So I do go through the entire gamut, which includes the exterior walls. The age of the home is oftentimes going to give me the answer I'm looking for, but there are methods for me to test for insulation. As you well know, the basement bonds and a rim joist is very, very, it's equal in importance to the attic area. So I'll point all this out to a homeowner, whether he or she wishes to go forward with those aspects of insulation or energy efficiency upgrades is entirely up to them.
Yeah, and I always tell homeowners, get them to quote everything that they think the house needs, and then as a homeowner, you can decide as like a roadmap. Part A, we're going to do, phase 1, we'll do the attic. Phase 2, maybe the bond plate. Let's focus on the bond plate for a real quick second, Tom. In the basement, at the top of the basement wall, around the perimeter, where the wood joist rests on the wall, that outer perimeter area is called the bond plate, correct?
That's absolutely correct.
And that's where it's at ground level usually. That's where a lot of heat loss or a lot of air infiltration happens.
The only things from Mother Nature in the interior of the house is that 2x6. That's it. So and yes, that is huge.
So you insulate that cavity every 16 inches or whatever.
That's right.
And that you seal it, and that allows for the blockage of any heat loss or air infiltration.
Infiltration, that's right.
And that's where you have a lot of savings.
It's equal to the attic, and folks just don't know that.
Okay, so is there any credits still? Do they have any tax credits, energy credits?
Well, not tax
rebates?
credits, but we have rebates from our utility companies, and they're still very favorable. Everybody should take advantage of these savings now because every year they're reevaluated by the Public Service Commission.
Okay, so and that's the thing. So there is still incentives. And then, of course, the reduction in your cooling or heating bill.
That's the number one reason.
What is that? Can you say 20%, 25%?
You know, every home's going to be a little bit different, and I like to underquote in each case.
Yeah.
But I can pretty much give you an accurate assessment based on what I see at your home.
Is there an average?
You know, I think 20% is probably a good
minimum.
Yeah, probably a good minimum number to work with, depending upon the extensive.
So if you have a $300 a month bill, 20% $60 a month.
A lot of money.
Yeah, it is.
A lot of money.
Yeah, it's $720 a year.
That's right.
Plus the incentives, plus the rebates.
Yeah, and when we factor it all in, you know, earlier one of the interviewers, your staff members, was asking, you know, what's up with energy efficiency, and you know, does insulation truly pay for itself? And the answer is yes. It has an ROI, and I can come awfully close and tell you how long it's going to take to pay back your project.
Well, that's fabulous. That's really fabulous. Well, you see how fast time goes? It's amazing.
Been a really fast interview.
Right? It's always good.
Yeah.
That's because it's good information.
Good stuff.
So if anyone wants an insulation quote, go to danafoaminsulation.com. What's the number again?
1-586-463-8675.
Tom, thanks for coming on the show today.
Adam, great to see you.
Always a pleasure to have you here. Say hi to the Magnettis.
I will indeed.
Give them my love.
All right.
All right, man, friends. That's it for the hour. More Hire It Done when we come back. I'm Adam Helfman. You're listening to the Hire It Done Radio Network.